Hey everybody, welcome back to Conquest of Ea. And it's been a little bit since I made a video. I was out on vacation, but I'm back now, and we actually have a tournament tomorrow at Titan Games and Hobbies, my local store in Timonium, Maryland. Looks like we have about 12 players signed up, so I'm pretty pumped about the showing. We have a prize kit from Bellum that we're going to give out as prizes, as well as some store credit for the top placers. So everybody's going to walk away tomorrow with something in their hands, which is awesome. And if there's an even amount of players there, I'll actually get to play my Old Dominion well, if there's an odd number and I'm the even, I guess I should explain that better. I'll get to play my Old Dominion. So we're going to take a look at my Old Dominion list and see how well it does in the tournament. So this video will review the Old Dominion list. It's a 2,000 point list with using really just like the old starter box and a couple other buys. It's really easy to make this army, and I think it's actually really, really competitive. And then once the event happens tomorrow, I'll release a video, not tomorrow, maybe Sunday, about how the list did, other lists in the tournament that performed really, really well, and how people played them, and kind of what our meta is looking like as this game is growing. 12 people is a great showing for a game, and I just hope we keep growing from there. So before we start to look at my list, I'm affiliated with Parabellum Games, and if you use the link down below, it'll take you over to the Parabellum web store. And anything over $100 is free shipping, and they have a ton of new content that they just came out with, or new releases that they just came out with, along with some pre-orders. But the most interesting thing they did was do these officer bundles. The officer models are really, really cool. A lot of them are resin, and they were like $25 each. And it just didn't make sense a lot of the time to buy these officers, because, I mean, really, Parabellum's very upfront about it. Like, you don't need these models in your army to take them in your army list, to represent them. You can use a token, you can use another model, you can convert one of your own models, which is, pretty cool that Parabellum's pretty upfront about that when they're trying to sell these things, right? But, I mean, I bought some of them for sure because they look super cool, and they can be other officers. But now they're doing these officer bundles, which I think are a great idea because it comes with a Conquest token pack with 2 officers for $49.99. So for the price of 2 officers, you're getting that token pack, I mean, basically for free, $50, not free, but it's getting thrown in there, which is really, really cool. So hopefully we'll see some more people get these officers on the table. Like, I have the Ward Preceptor for my Spires. He looks so cool with his giant shield. And I actually bought the Optio a little while ago, but I think I'll still get the Old Dominion Officer Bundle to get that Dark Cenotaph. And the tokens are always useful, for marking wounds, supremacy. They have little reinforcement line tokens in there as well, so that's really cool. So if you use the link below, if you need any Conquest product, I'll get a small kickback to the channel, and I really appreciate it. And I think these new Officer Bundles are really, really cool. Alright, so we're going to dive right into my army list. 2,000 points of Old Dominion. You can see that my first warband is my Archimandrite, and he is not my Warlord. We'll talk about my Warlord in the next warband. And the only things I've really given him are Arcane 1 and Arcane 2 to get him up to that Priest level 7, and then count as 2 less stands for scaling. He's really just going to sit in that 3 stands of Legionnaires unit in the back, capping objectives, healing up some stands if he needs it, up in people's dark power pool if they need that. And if he's fighting during the game, it's a bad time. He's just a single cast wizard. I didn't really buff him up a ton. So he also his warband comes with some carries as well. I've had mixed results with these. I feel like 160 points for a unit, let's click them so they pop up here, that has these kind of stats is it hurts. The evasion 2 is cool because like stuff with cleave isn't going to hurt you, but with these being your light units, they're going to be on the board first. Your opponent's really just not going to hit them with something that has cleave in there. He's going to hit them with something that has a ton of attacks. The loose formation does help against other shooting units, but you have to get so close to a unit to hurt them with the carries at the range 12 that it doesn't really help that much. So I find a lot of times this unit goes out, dies, gets me my 3 dark power, and then if they're staying alive, it's kind of just a bonus, which feels bad at 160 points. And then kind of the same for the Moroi. I really like their 6 attacks and the cleave with the memories of old, but again, they're light, so they have to stay around long enough to get that memories of old. I try and hold these guys back because they're 180 points. They have a bunch of attacks. The clash isn't great, but if you can keep them alive for a little bit, just to get into that Dark Power tier 2, and then maybe the Archimandrite pushes them up to that tier 3, so they can get that cleave and always count as Inspire to hit on 3s. That's kind of like living the dream with these guys, but it just doesn't always happen. 180 points feels pretty expensive, but I can see why. Same thing with the carries. I can see why they're so expensive because their ceiling is so high. Just the floor feels pretty low sometimes and not worth the points. So we see how the Moroi do tomorrow in my games. Last but not least in this warband is Bone Golems. These are amazing. Every Old Dominion player probably knows this. They are just a brick or cement wall, I guess, for when your opponent comes at you because they have the Harden 1 with the defense 3 built in. You're not taking Resolve because you're Old Dominion. They're Terrifying 1, Cleave 2, Relentless Blows. I just park these in front of my opponent's big hitter because they're not going to kill it in one go. It's 6 wounds a stand as well, and just watch them get hit and sit there and take those aura death hits. And a lot of times I'll put something behind the Bone Golems or a flank charge to Bone Golems if it's my Rengian Guard, Praetorian Guard, and they're just such a good Anvil unit. And then we're going to move right into the second warband of my Ziliarch, who is my Warlord. And he's my Warlord only because getting that Praetorian Guard unit and Varangian Guard unit to be able to do 2 clash actions or a bonus clash action once per game has just won me multiple games. Varangian Guards move, charging, clashing is amazing. Obviously, if they're in combat, Dark Power tier 3 at the end of the game because they're heavies, they're coming on a little later. Clashing is amazing if they take their members of old. And then same thing with the Praetorian Guard. They just get a ton of attacks. And I've usually put him with the Praetorian Guard. Basically always. That 6 stands, their high defense is just so hard to get through. And I've thrown in the banner that gives him untouchable, which lets the whole unit reroll 6s for defense. And I've given him the Regalian 1, Combat 1, Combat 2, to make him just a melee beatstick as well, with 6 attacks, 6 wounds, deadly blades, parry, and flurry. People are going to really think twice about dueling this guy, but he does have pretty low defense, so he definitely can die in a duel. The Praetorian Guard and the Varangian Guard both just have standards, and these are my real damage dealers in the army. With that threat of attacking twice, you just got to make sure you use that once per game in a good spot. And good opponents will know that you have that in your pocket, and because you have to let them know, hey, this is my supremacy turn at the beginning of the round. They'll do everything in their power to make it so the Varangian Guard and Praetorian Guard can't attack twice for 1 activation. And sometimes just the threat of that is enough to make your opponent make some mistakes. And last, we have my third warband with the Mounted Strategos in a unit of Cataphractoi. I love this unit. I have some Eternal Discipline on the Mounted Strategos to give the Cataphractoi reroll 6s for defense as well, to make them pretty defensive, as well as a sword. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this name, but it gives the entire regiment Cleave 1 and Line Breaker. So I find this pretty good on the Cataphractoi because you want to get as many wounds through as you can when they're charging in. The Cleave is only coming through a clash or a duel action, so they don't get it on that impact, but they already have brutal impact. And then they get the Line Breaker on clash or duel actions as well. I just wanted to make sure. So that just means if you get that charge off with your first action, your next attacks coming up still, cut through some armor, are pretty devastating as well for the whole unit, which is awesome. And obviously I gave them the officer upgrade for Overrun. So if they end their charge action and the regiment is broken, they can do their impact attacks again, which is going to kill the unit maybe, and they can perform up to 2 charge actions during a single activation. So living the dream with these guys would be charging, breaking, impacting twice, killing the unit they charged into, and then charging another unit, impacting, breaking, impacting again. I have not done the 4 impact turn or activation yet for these guys, but I'm really hoping it happens tomorrow. And then just a minimum stand of Legionnaires who will throw themselves on their spears to give me some dark power points also. That's the 2,000 point list. I'm really excited to see how it goes tomorrow. I ran something pretty similar to this last time, and it did pretty well. But I'm actually going to take the time to keep track of my games and report back, take some pictures, report back on my next video of how everything goes. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully that video of the tournament recap will be up this weekend, so you can see how I did. Hopefully I come in first, although I can't take any prizes because I'm technically running the event, but that's fine. I just want to get some wins under my belt. And again, if you need anything from the Bellum web store, there's a link down below for the US and the EU both. And if you use that link, you can head over, I get a small kickback, and you'll get yourself some nice Bellum products. So thanks for watching, and good luck on your Conquest games out there.